Hello everyone, welcome to our discussion on research methodology. Today we are going to discuss about a new topic which is really important for students to know about this, and that is called as plagiarism. So what is plagiarism? So plagiarism can be defined in different terms, and submitting a particular paper or a particular work, you can call it as a work, submitting a work you didn't write yourself, which is in general terms can be called as a cheating. So that is one form of plagiarism. That is, you are submitting something or a particular project work or something which you haven't done. It was done by somebody else, but you are claiming that you have done it, and that is one form of plagiarism. So, in simple terms, you can call it as a cheating. So, copying from sources and pretending that you wrote it yourself. For example, I'm going to write a project report. I read a particular paper, a particular research article. I just copy a paragraph from that research article, and I'm going to paste it completely into my research work. So such cut and copy work, that is what is called as copying from sources and pretending it that you wrote it by yourself. That is also a form of plagiarism, and using a source and saying it as a different source. That is, you are writing something or you are copying it from some source, and you are saying it as you took it from somewhere else. For example, you have two books of chemistry. You are referring for an assignment. You have two books from two authors. You copy a paragraph from a particular author, and you are claiming that you took it from the other book. Okay, that's also possible, or actually, that is a mistake, because it might be due to a mistake because you referred to books and you mistakenly is giving the other author the credit for what you have pasted there. Okay, so that's form of mistake, but that is considered as plagiarism. You are giving the credit for another person. Another form of plagiarism is you use the author's idea and words without giving authors credit. Okay, that is what I said earlier. You are reading something, you're reading a book or you're reading a journal, etc. You directly copy it from that particular place and you are pasting it there without giving the credit. So we'll see how we are going to give credit for that author, etc. in the coming slides. So this is a main source of plagiarism, and this is even confusing for every person or every one who is in the scientific field. And in this session we are going to learn how you are going, or what is actually plagiarism, and what all can you do for avoiding plagiarism. For example, avoiding plagiarism or giving credit to the author for what we have done can be seen in this particular slide. Okay, I took this slide from the internet. Sorry. Okay, I took this particular slide from the internet. Okay, for about this plagiarism, I have pasted it into my slide, and you can see that I have written, or I have pasted the source from where I have taken this particular presentation. So this is what is called as giving credit to the author. That means you use the author's idea. I am using that particular author's idea. It's not my idea or what I have given. I took it from the internet. I'm using the author's idea, and if I haven't pasted it here, that indicates that this is my idea, or I have done it by referring to some other sources or book, etc. But by giving credit to this, like this, I am clearly stating that this particular words or this particular thing which I have used is from another author, and I am giving credit to this particular author. So now when I paste this into my slide for my teaching purposes, this cannot be considered as plagiarism now, because I have given credit to the particular person who has done it. Okay, so this is a simple form of plagiarism, and this is the simple method by which we are going to or to avoid the particular thing which is called as plagiarism. So in this particular thing, actually for plagiarism, I cannot use the exact words of this particular author. I can use different words from the author or the idea of the words, but because this is a slide and I have just taken the image and pasted it, this is considered as an image. I have pasted an image into this, and I am giving the entire credit of the image to this particular author. What can you do to avoid plagiarism? So make clear who said it. That's what I mean here. If it is an image, this is an actually an image. I have taken a photo of this and I have pasted here. So if it is an image, I'm giving due credit to that particular author. So make it clear who said or who thought what. That is, sometimes you use the exact same words as the author. Sometimes you may paraphrase. Paraphrase means you use the author's idea, but you reconstruct the sentence, and that is what is called as paraphrasing. But always you make it clear that which words or thoughts are the author's and which is yours. So the reader can understand because you follow a certain conventions. That's what we are going to see. That is, how will an author or a person who is reading something will identify whether it is the author's idea or whether he has taken it from somewhere else. So when borrowing the author's, how we are going to write these conventions, or what are the conventions which is used to convey this idea, whether that particular sentence is written by the author or paraphrased by the author or written directly by the author, or he has taken directly from another author. So when you are borrowing an author's exact same words, you should cite the author. So this is what is called as citing. You should cite the author. Also, if you are using the exact sentence, if you are cutting and pasting the exact sentence, you should use quotation marks around the borrowed words, or the entire sentence should be put in quotation marks. That is how you do, or that is the convention what you do when you are borrowing the author's exact words. Okay. And what should you do when you are paraphrasing? So when you are paraphrasing, I told you, you are taking the author's sentence and you are constructing it in another sense. Okay, you are not directly pasting the sentence, you are just paraphrasing the sentence. You take the idea, you just change the construction of the sentence. That is what is called as paraphrasing. So when you are paraphrasing, it is definitely how the author will know whether it is an idea from another author, is that you should cite the author. Okay, we'll see how you cite the author, etc. So citation like this, you should cite an author. The third one is always when you are reporting an author's information, also you have to cite the author. So when you take the exact words, citation and also quotation marks are double inverted commas or quotations are important when you are taking the exact words. If you are paraphrasing or you are reporting an author's information, it is definite that you should cite the author. So how to cite the author, or what does citation means? So if I'm taking a sentence, according to President Obama, so it is a speech from Obama, the economy, etc. And he goes on to say, okay, this is one sentence, and the next sentence is Lee 2007 argues that inflation will, and that the sentence goes on. The third sentence is the army's actions were, in quotation, incomprehensible and reprehensible. Okay, all the bold words above are examples of citations. So here you are going to say something about the economy, and you are telling that it was said by President Obama. That is, according to President Obama, the economy, etc. And he goes on to say. So you are reporting something. It is like a news reporting. So this, according to President Obama and he, these are examples of citation. You are giving credit of that particular sentence. So this particular sentence, that is the economy, etc., 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 will not be the exact words what Obama might have said. You are taking or you are paraphrasing that particular one or the speech of Obama, and you are reporting. But you are giving due credit to the person who said that particular words. That this is one form of citation. Another form of citation is this. That is Lee 2007. This might be from a journal, or this might be from a book, etc. So this is the year in which that was published, Lee 2007. He argues that inflation, etc. So this is also a form of citation. You are giving credit to that particular author. Another thing, that is, if you are taking the exact words from the author, I told you should put the quotation marks or double inverted comma and also the citation, so that you can see here. So the army's actions were incomprehensible and reprehensible. So these are the words by Adam and Morton 232. So you are taking the direct words in this particular form, incomprehensible and reprehensible. So you are giving the credit of this particular incomprehensible and reprehensible to this particular person. So you are citing them, as well as you are taking saying that this is the exact words which you have taken it from that particular author. So this is how you cite an author. So this is the way you people should also follow when you are doing a student project. In a student project, wherever you refer to a particular author, one thing is that you cannot take every sentence, you cannot copy all the sentence from one place to the other. In such cases, you have to put inverted comma in everywhere, and that is not acceptable in a project. You should rephrase or paraphrase the sentence, and you should put the citation. Now we will go to some examples. Okay. So here, what the reader sees and what is this particular thing means to the reader. If you are putting a citation and a quotation mark, as we saw here, you are putting a citation. This is called a citation, and you are putting the quotation mark. When an author reads that the passage is someone else's information in the person's exact words, that is the impression that the reader gets when he reads that particular thing. That is, he is reading a sentence which is having a citation with a quotation mark, and for a reader, he understands that that particular passage is someone else's passage, and the information what is given there is from a person's exact words, which is put in inverted comma. Next one is, you have a citation with no quotation marks. So the passage is someone else's information expressed in the author's own words. That is what is called as paraphrasing. I am taking the information from that particular paper, I am rephrasing it, but I put a citation, and that give an impression to the author or reader that the passage is someone else's information expressed in the author's own words. If you are giving no citation and no quotation marks, the passage is your own idea or interpretation expressed in your own words. So if you are giving, in a particular study you have a conclusion of your result, that will be your interpretation. In that you need not give any citation, etc., because it is your own interpretation of your result. In such cases, no citation is required because it is your data. So if you are putting a sentence without a citation in a research work or a research paper or a project report, that indicates that that sentence or that idea or that interpretation what you are given in the sentence is your own without a citation. So be careful. Whenever you are giving a report or a student project report, keep in mind that if you're taking, because when you write an introduction, when you write the review of literature, when you write the discussion, definitely you have to take the idea from different journals, different articles, etc. So do remember, If you are taking the particular idea or a particular uh, quotation or a particular data from a particular journal, do mind that you should give do citation to that particular author from where you have taken. So that is the scientific way of writing a paper. If you haven't provided that, if you are cutting and copying, if you just copy a sentence and paste it in your project report or a PhD thesis, etc., that will be considered as a plagiarism. So you might wonder, you have a 30 page student project. If it is a PhD thesis, it counts to about 200 to 250 pages. So how a particular person will identify whether that sentence is plagiarized or not? Previously, 10, 15 years back, it was very difficult. So, if you are taking a PhD thesis or a student's work of those particular, if 20 years back, and you search for plagiarism in that, you definitely can find the plagiarism. But because such a concept was not introduced, and such a concept was not, or it was very difficult to find it out whether that is plagiarized or not. But now it is very easy. Easy in the sense you have different softwares to find plagiarism. Okay, it is because you might have taken the information from the internet. You might have searched for your particular project topic. You might have downloaded many papers. So those papers are already available in the net. If you are taking it from a journal, already it is available in the net. So there are softwares to find plagiarism. In the sense, before submitting, it is not mandatory for students' projects, but it is mandatory for a PhD thesis or a research paper. Before publishing your PhD thesis or a research paper, you should give a certificate along with it. This was checked for plagiarism by this particular software, and it was found to be this much percentage. Because certain sentences, because a sentence construction even it is considered to be plagiarized. For example, there is an apple in a tree. Okay, so that is a particular construction for the sentence. There is an apple on the tree. Okay, so the words which I have phrased as there is an apple on the tree. Okay, if you are putting this particular sentence will be available. So this is a general idea, not a general sentence. It will be available in the net in many books, many articles, etc. So a sentence construction is also considered to be plagiarism. As a result, a 20 percentage plagiarism. So if you are submitting an article and 20 percentage of such sentence constructions, etc., can be omitted. So if you are submitting your PhD thesis or student's project into a particular software which finds plagiarism, so that particular software, what it does is it will search for all such it will search in the world wide web for every paper or every exact words, exact sentences, etc. If you have not cited a particular sentence, if you have cited, it's well and good, it will be not considered as a plagiarism. If you have paraphrased it, or if you are put in quotation marks, etc., that will not be counted. That will be omitted by the plagiarism software. But if there are sentences without citation and that was found elsewhere in the internet because you have cut it and pasted it here, such sentences will be considered to be plagiarisms. Such things are called as verbal plagiarisms, in the sense that you are putting some other's data for copying and putting it. And if plagiarism is about 20 percentage, you cannot publish that particular paper. You cannot even submit your PhD thesis. So in this, that's why you have this particular topic in your syllabus, because it is very important in the scientific community. Now plagiarism is well detected for every publication and for every PhD thesis. Unless it is checked by a plagiarism software or plagiarism detecting software, it will not be accepted by any prestigious scientific community, etc. So keep in mind that whenever you are writing something, please do try to or study to paraphrase it and give citation. So now another one. If you are giving no citation and no quotation mark, the passage is your own idea or interpretation and expressed in your own words. Example is the link between cell phone use and the grade point average need no further. So this is an conclusion of a particular study. So you have studied something and you are concluding it. So if because it is your study, you can definitely interpret your result, and that need not have any citation, etc. So this particular sentence like this will tell the reader that this is your observation. You are in the sense the person who have written that particular project. Next is citation plus quotation mark like this. That is a survey result, etc. Negatively predict overall grade point average. So this is this particular sentence is taken directly from that particular book, etc. by Winke 19. It might be 2019 like this. So this is this says that there is a citation and a quotation mark, as we said earlier. So this is citation and this is a quotation mark. So this particular thing which is given in quotation was directly taken from that particular book, and citation is given. Next one is citation and no quotation. Citation is given, no quotation indicates that the passage is someone else's, expressed in or paraphrased in your own sentence. So plagiarism can happen, to be clear. Plagiarism can happen when your citation or when it lacks it tells a reader one thing but you meant something else. That is plagiarism. So example, you paraphrase an author's words but you did not cite an author. You paraphrase the sentence, you change the sentence, but you have not given credit to the author, that particular author who said that. You just told the reader that it's your idea, but in reality it is another person's idea. So it might be you forgot it or you misunderstood the convention of plagiarism, but still it is considered as a plagiarism. The examples of plagiarism. So here the red text should be inside quotation marks because they are the author's exact words. So here you can see it's from an article. The survey results from 1,500 college students' cell phone increased, etc. So this is from this particular article. But when a student write it, if the student write it like this, that is, you have given credit to the author here, that is this particular person, research on cell phone. You see the sentence, found that an increased use was negatively predictive of overall grade point average. See this? Found that increased use was negatively predictive of overall grade point average. You have taken the exact sentence from there, but you have not put the inverted comma or you have not put the quotation mark. If you are writing it like this, even if you have given citation, here they have given the citation, but the quotation marks are missing. So this is surely considered as a plagiarism. So another thing where we see that this is not a plagiarism, the same sentence. When a student write this, the cell phone use found that an increased use was negatively predicted of the overall grade point average. Okay, so the students have paraphrased this particular person's information. The student have used the same more or less the same words, but he has paraphrased without the sentence construction is different. That's why I said you should not take it directly, or the sentence construction should not be the same. You should make it different. If you make it different, that is called as a paraphrasing, and paraphrasing with the citation is acceptable, and that is not considered as plagiarism. So in this case, the reader knows that the passage is someone else's and that is expressed in your own words. But the one which we saw formally, you can see that the student have directly quoted the exact uh, what you can say that the exact formation of the sentence or the construction of the sentence is the same as that of the author. If you take like that, you should put in quotation marks, or you have to rephrase it. If you rephrase it and give citation, it is okay, it is not plagiarism. If you are taking it in exact form, you should give the citation and also you should put the quotation marks. So that's with plagiarisms, and there are different types of plagiarism. The first one is direct plagiarism. So it is an act of copying another person's work word by word, as we saw now. That is what is called as direct plagiarism. You are just copying the exact sentence construction from one author and pasting it. So paying one to write an essay for you and submitting as your own work, that is also coming under what is called as direct plagiarism. Next is paraphrased plagiarism. The thing is that, so this, as I said, here you have paraphrased the sentence, but if this lacks a citation, okay, if this particular name or citation was absent, you have paraphrased the above idea, but you have missed this particular point, or you have missed this one, which is called as, you have missed the citation. That is considered to be what is called as paraphrased plagiarism. Making a few changes in someone else's work and then passing it as of your own work. Because if you haven't cited or given a citation, a reader takes it as your own, as the author's view. So if a citation is absent in such a case, that is also called as a paraphrased plagiarism. Next one is mosaic plagiarism. Mosaic plagiarism is a combination of direct and paraphrased. So you take some sentences directly, you take some sentences which is, you paraphrase some sentences without giving due citation or quotation marks. That is what is called as mosaic plagiarism. That is the author does both the things. He directly takes a sentence, copies it, and also he paraphrases. In a paragraph, if you take, you can see sentences which are directly pasted without citation, without quotation marks, and also you can see sentences which are paraphrased without citation. And in such cases, that is called as mosaic plagiarism. Coming to accidental plagiarism, it occurs when citations are missing. The sources are cited incorrectly. That is what is called as accidental. As I said earlier, you are referring to two books. You take the idea from one book, but mistakenly or knowingly or unknowingly, whatever might be the case, you are giving the credit to another person. Okay, you took it from one person's text and you are giving the credit to another person. That is considered to be accident plagiarism. You have cited, but the citation is incorrect. And such accidental plagiarism often happens when you are in a last minute rush, when you are drafting your project report in the last minute, when you are drafting it 2 days before or the day before your submission of the project. So often it results from disorganized research project and a last minute crunch. So in a rush, you don't know whether from where you have taken, you cut and copy some names, etc. So such ones are called as accidental plagiarism. Next one is self or auto plagiarism. That is when an author reuses the significant portions of his or her previously published data. For example, I have published a paper in the last year. I am taking the sentence from that particular paper and directly pasting it into my new paper or a new project. And I am of the notion that it's my particular work. It was written by me, so I can directly take and paste it. Such a pasting by self is also considered to be plagiarism. Even if it is your paper which is published last year or even last day or last week, whatever it is, if it is available in the public domain, if you are cutting and copying it, even if it was written by you, without giving due credit in the sense that you can give your own name, you can cite it as your own name and the year or the month which was published. Without a citation, if you are taking your own work or your own sentences, even it is considered as plagiarism. So the severity of this kind of infraction is done in debate depending upon the copied content. So what happens is, what is done now is that you can see that many papers become blacklisted. You can, if you search for blacklisted in your Google blacklisted papers, you can see many papers. So blacklisting of papers and also authors. So the authors might be eminent scientists, etc. So what happens is that particular journal, if they find it as plagiarized, not only now we have talked only about a verbal type of or something which we write, verbal plagiarism. There is also something which is called as image plagiarisms. So accidentally, some authors what they do is that they paste an image which they have pasted or they have used in another work or other paper which is now available in the public domain. In such cases, that particular image of a particular result, for example, it is of a particular experiment. You do a particular experiment and it was published earlier, uh, but that might be because of this disorganized or the last minute crunch. Because if you are not organized, this images in your computer when you have done it, the date, the time, etc. When you are going to publish a paper in the last minute rush, you might miscopy a particular image. That has happened for many eminent scientists. Not the scientists do, their students. Because of the disorganized research work, what they do is that when the scientists say bring it tomorrow, what they do is that accidentally, because of the stress or the strain or uh, the particular state of mind, they might miscopy a particular image. And if it is found that that particular image was either altered, an altered image, or the image was the one which was not which was published earlier, that will lead to rejecting that particular paper. Even if it is published, they reject that particular paper, blacklist those authors, and blacklist that paper. So, in a scientific community, blacklisting the author is like you have committed a crime. Even though it might seem to be simple because it was by mistake, etc., it is considered to be a crime being blacklisted in the scientific community. So these are the so this is a thing that students should practice to avoid or what is plagiarism and how you can avoid. But I make it or I deal this particular topic in such a vast manner. If you see your textbook, it's just in two paragraphs. You should understand actually what is plagiarism, and you should try to start learning how to avoid plagiarism, because that's very important. Even if you are writing your student's project, you should keep in mind such things when you are reading something, when you are pasting something, etc.